example that I have today is one of my early clients I started using Sensi with and really was instrumental in helping my group really become embracing it, because one morning I came to work and opened my dashboard and found that the caregiver was struggling getting this lady out of bed one morning. And it was very unusual for her because she typically would get up. She had an adult daughter that lived in the house that had bipolar and was, had seizures at times and went off to work at 8 o'clock. So the timing was that our caregiver would show up at 8 o'clock just as the daughter was leaving. So we bridged between the two, and I could hear the caregiver struggling getting her up, and she just was refusing. So I got in the car, drove up and visited, and she refused to get up for me as well. We got the son on the phone. We had a little discussion, find out that the doctor had recently made a medication change, which was making her very lethargic and not wanting to get out of bed anymore. So we were able to get to the doctor, and the doctor changed the prescription. And within a very short order, she was back to her normal routine. Then we fast forward. This was my first example, too, of a UTI. The Sensi system actually came back on the dashboard and identified that maybe she had a UTI. Sure enough, we had her checked, and she had a UTI. So we were able to get her the antibiotic. It's one of those things that we wouldn't necessarily have picked up on because she had pretty advanced dementia. So her memory loss was pretty severe anyway, which led to the next event that Sensi provided for me. I could hear periodically her consistent questions, repeated questions. How old am I? Where? And so what Sensi came back and said to me, why don't you try reminiscent therapy? And so what we did was I encouraged the caregiver to start being proactive, asking questions, where did you grow up? And, because she was a Chinese woman from India. And so the dialogue became more proactive in talking to her versus waiting for her to repeat the questions over and over and over again. Another example in this particular house, as I said, the adult daughter has seizures. One Sunday afternoon, I'm sitting watching football, I think, and I got an alert that something was going on. So I quickly got on the phone, called the caregiver. The caregiver goes, "No, Bob, everything's fine. I'm sitting here with the client and everybody's fine." I said, "Well, do me a favor. Why don't you go knock on the door of the adult daughter and make sure she's doing okay?" And come to find out she was in the middle of having a seizure. So we were able to identify that even through that door, that something was amiss. And so we were able to fix that because we had years ago put a magnet in her neck, and putting the magnet up to her neck caused the seizure to cease. Last but not least, she fell one night. We were able to identify that. So there are lots of value in that particular case because there were so many incidences where Sensi played a major part of our care for this individual.